The Flash series are famous for their one-of-a-kind plot and improbable scenes that everyone is in love with. But what happens when there's no more DC magic and what's left is only the actual reality? Stay with us and find out about the behind the DC magic of the Flash series. The Shark King. This time we're talking about the Shark King, one of the most important giant villains when it comes to the Flash series. This is the computer-produced profile of the Shark King, and it's not even near the actual shape it reaches in the show itself. It takes the editors hours and hours of hard work to succeed in experimenting and editing before the actual creature gains its real hugeness and magnitude that we're all used to seeing on the show. You were probably expecting to see it smashing things, breaking stuff all around, but just take a look. This time, the dangerous and unstoppable shark shows its funny side. The actor depicting the shark started dancing around on set, so it resulted in an unfinished version of the same shark looking hilarious, particularly with the silly dancing move it makes. What would you say about this version of the shark we got right here? Gorilla Grodd. At first, everyone would agree that the Gorilla Grodd seems as if it's one of the smartest creature primates in the Flash world. But is that true? Despite the fact that this creature is brilliant on set, that's not the case behind the scenes. As you can notice here, during the brief break, the actor who was depicting it turned his back on the video camera and suddenly started scratching his butt. Do you still believe that this creature is smart enough for its title? We don't think so. Jokes aside, although the Grodd in the show is absolutely fascinating, behind the scenes it's quite the opposite. It seems huge, large, and indeed impractical. Nevertheless, when they manage to complete the work, it looks outstanding. The suit upgrade. Vibe is the master operating the whole lab, and he's the one obligated to construct the Flash suit. We all know that in the second season, he leveled up the game by upgrading the original Flash suit. Joyful of his achievements, wishing to surprise Barry, he came across a little obstacle that ruined his plans. The darn light wouldn't turn on. That means that no one was able to see the suit, and due to that, they needed to shoot the same scene over again from the beginning. So you can clearly see that behind the scenes, nothing is as perfect as on the actual show. Things are happening and people are working hard to make everything look as perfect as it is on screen. The Flash running without CGI. If you're a huge fan of this show, you're for sure in love with Barry Allen's running scenes that look perfect on screen. But if you were wondering how they were filmed in the studio, we're about to show you in a second. Just stay with us. Looking at this hallway, you're gonna instantly recognize the scene. Yes, the scene where actually Barry zooms by at light speed and suddenly there are little sparks behind him. But just take a moment and look at how he actually looks without any CGI trying to shoot this scene. We're really lucky that they got the effect and the best crew ever who's working with them, making it look perfectly natural as if they are actually real. If not, it would be Barry Allen waltzing on the set and nothing more than that. Not so perfect behind the set. Now, we're not talking about Barry, we're talking about Cisco that looks great with those goggles on the show. But we already mentioned that what is actually happening on the show is not necessarily the same on the set. It's known when you jump around a lot, the things can't stay in one place, and that's for sure. This was actually the case with the superhero goggles that started falling off his nose, so he needed to stop for a minute and put them on again. Even though they look perfectly stuck on his face in the show, behind the scenes, that wasn't the case at all.
My goggles started falling off my face.
Zoom's costume. Even though some might perceive this as a cringe moment, for some, it can be really hilarious. When you take a look at the Zoom that is actually the evil speedster that was trying to kill Barry in Season 2, owning this marvelous costume precisely around the mouth where it looks like his lips were linked together. Due to that actor wanted to make a joke, so he stuck his tongue out while the cameras were filming. On that, Grant started laughing uncontrollably, but the female co-star didn't make the same reaction at all. She made a weird face that indicated she was grossed out by him, revealing his tongue just like that, especially in the middle of the shooting. She even yelled, "No!"
Wait, do that again, look at him.
Sometimes what happens behind the scenes is a thing you would never ever thought would even be possible. It's only what happens there and stays there, but sometimes we're blessed to see some of those moments, a precious moment like this one. The Flash isn't fast on the set. As we saw, the actors are not that great behind the scenes as they are on the actual show, and what you're about to see is a real example of that. Something that looks like a really easy and natural thing to do for these actors on the show is not the same behind the scenes. The real example of that is Barry and the doors. The biggest problem while shooting for him is actually the doors, something with what he deals really easily on the show. So you can see that in this particular scene, the moment when he needed to turn out of the room, he bumped into the door and hit his shoulder.
There's the door.
So all in all, it looks like the Flash is not as fast and prepared as it looks like in the actual show. No need for the pants while filming. Can you imagine that when there's no need for the director to film the entire actor and they only need to film the torso, then and only then Grant Gustin could be naked below? Until he has the right costume where the shot is, till then he can wear whatever he wants underneath. How wild is that? And believe it or not, that was exactly what happened in one of the shots. But let's make things clear, Grant wasn't completely naked, he was wearing some shorts underneath. It's not an easy job to put the Flash pants on, so he wanted to make things easier and just avoid doing that, no matter if that looked hilarious on set or not. Comfort is important, we must admit. The Flash runs. Whenever you see that gush of wind that fills the laboratory whenever Barry shows up in the room is not due to Barry's strengths and furiousness, we're talking about something else here. Did you know that the wind you see is produced by a guy that sits behind scenes via fan? The guy that actually stays in the background is blasting wind in the actors' faces, and he's the one who is actually shaking the entire room whenever Barry shows up there. Can you imagine that? Who would have thought? With all the paper all around the place, we can for sure say that this guy knows how to do his job. Actually, he does it perfectly. You know how the actors can sometimes forget their lines or even not do the act as they've been imagining, or there may be some other obstacle? Whatever the case is, the actors sometimes need to refilm the scene and even a couple of times in a row. So can you imagine someone picking up all the paper constantly before filming the scene? That sounds like a lot of work there. On a related note, we wanted to know which part was your favorite one from our video. You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.